Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning to one and all. The lesson 1.2, a synopsis, the Swiss family Robinson. We've already finished half of the lesson. The last 2 pages of the lesson is remaining. Well, it will take me another 2 lectures. So today I'll do half of it. And in my next lecture, I shall be coming to the climax of the complete lesson. First and foremost, I'll just revive yourself through the lesson because this is a synopsis. A synopsis means a summary because this is a very, very long story and I've already explained to you half of it. Let's begin with the second part of the story. Here it is. 10 years passed and the young boys were now young men and their parents were very proud. They called the island New Switzerland. Many adventures occurred over the years. That means the Swiss family Robinson were isolated, were deserted on this vacant island which they called as New Switzerland. They stayed out there for the previous 10 years. They were small kids, they were small children. Now after 10 years, obviously the children have grown big. Father William, mother Elizabeth and the 4 children. The eldest one is Fritz, second one Ernest, third one Jack and the youngest son is Franz. Now after being on the island for 10 years, obviously they've learned a lot over all the different types of adventure. The 4 different types of houses they have stayed in. The first one was the tent, then it was a one tree house, then came up with the cave, and finally they were on 4 tree tops where all houses were built according to the seasonal condition and danger from the various animals to protect themselves from wildlife in that case. Adventures were all there for 10 years. Long 10 years have passed off and they've been moving about in that way. On the shore of another island, Fritz had knocked down an albatross. Albatross is a bird which has long winged bird. It is a very large bird also and it is a sea bird in that sense, which was threatening to attack him and found a rag tied to the large bird's leg. That means Fritz had knocked down the bird albatross which was actually attacking on Fritz himself, but he was a better part or much more talented than the albatross. He knocked down the albatross in that way and the bird was down. When Fritz checked out the bird, he found there was a rag, a piece of cloth tied on the bird's leg. On the rag was a message. That means a statement was written on that piece of rag, on the piece of cloth out there, that an English woman had been stranded on the smoking rock. Stranded means left alone or in a helpless manner, in a solitary place. The English woman was there on the smoking rock. Smoking rock means volcanoes. Making it simpler for you, it is called as volcanoes. Fritz has no idea how old the message was. Obviously the rag was in rather tatters, in pieces, yet putting it together, Fritz read the message that a female was stranded, was locked out there or solitary out there or just left alone, helpless in a grieving manner. His father suggested that smoking rock sounded like a reference to volcano. Since there were no volcanoes in the vicinity, vicinity means nearby, close by, in that particular islandic area, the bird might have come from hundreds of miles away. That was just a guesswork from father to son, because father was making suggestions. He was not getting a perfect answer to that. sounded like a reference. Sounded like a reference, giving his own opinion, his own response, his own ideas in that manner, that smoking rock does mean volcano in that way. However, Fritz felt that someone needed his help, and he was determined to do his best to find the sender. That means Fritz was ready to help the XYZ person, who was a woman, because it was written English woman had been stranded, had been left alone in grief. However far it was, but Fritz was determined, had the willingness, determination, willpower to do all the work for the lady, and he said, I will go and find the sender and see that she is relieved from all the grief she is facing all the while in that way. Before returning home, he had written his own note on rag, retied it to the albatross leg, and had watched the bird fly off. That means, in this case, Fritz read the letter, read the rag piece, and again tied the same rag piece onto the albatross leg, where he again tied it to the bird's leg and left the bird to fly off again. And what he did after that was he followed the bird when it was flying off in that manner. The note told whoever received it. What did Fritz write in that, on that piece of rag in reply to the letter or to the written note that was put on the rag for Fritz himself? The note told whoever received it, do not despair. Do not despair means do not feel sad, do not feel grieved, do not be rather sober, serene in manner. Help is nearby. Help is nearby means Fritz was willing to help, and he would obviously release the lady, English woman, who was stranded, who was unlocked, who was left on the island. Fritz then successfully rescued the young lady, Jenny Montrose. That means Fritz followed the albatross all the way down the island wherever it flew off, and there he found an English woman out there, where he reached out there and released her, relieved her, and brought her to his own encampment area, to the dwelling place where they themselves were living for the past 10 years. Her name was Jenny Montrose. Though shy at first, obviously shy, when you feel you are in front of unknown people, you are feeling rather timid, you are rather sober in behavior, you are rather serene in behavior, you are rather simple in behavior, you make your less smile out there, or you make your behavior is rather in a lonely manner. Fritz then successfully rescued the young woman, Jenny Montrose. Though shy at first, soon she got used to living with the Robinson family. Obviously, anybody, if you yourself find yourself alone or in the midst of some unknown people, it is but common that you will not open your mouth, you will feel rather shy, you will feel rather timid, you will feel rather afraid or scared of opening your mouth and speaking with other people. Same way here, Jenny Montrose was also in the same place, but slowly and steadily as time passed, the Robinson family was rather helpful, kind, serene, simple in behavior also, and so Jenny Montrose was easily mixing up with the Robinson family. So you have your lesson 1.2, synopsis, the Robinson family. In that case, here the story is obviously of 10 years written down. They were stranded by themselves first, and then they had their various dwellings done up, and 4 sons, man, wife, and their 2 dogs, Juno and Turk. In that way. Any questions, any query, any doubt, you're most welcome to ask me. Please subscribe to the channel, like your channel, and share your views in that way. In that case, what is it? Okay, just a minute. Okay. One day they saw a ship which had laid anchor. Laid anchor means halted or stationed itself or stationaried itself into one particular place. An encampment had been set up on one of the smaller island. Encampment means dwelling. Unit here, dwelling, a place to stay at where a person can obviously stay with them. A small ship had been seen and had anchored. Anchored means stopped in that particular way. An encampment had been set up on one of the smaller islands. After checking the people through their spyglass, obviously binoculars or olden type of telescope, Fritz and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. That means these Fritz and the father, obviously they checked it out who the people were through the binoculars, because obviously it can be any haphazard problem could be created by them. The ship may be pirated ship and the people may come and create nuisance for the people of the Robinson family. Therefore, before showing themselves up in front of the crews of the ship or the sailors of the ship, they checked them out through the spyglass, through the binoculars, and then they found themselves that these people are okay, and then they themselves came in front of them and showed themselves that they are normal people like the people on the ship. They did not want the crew to think they were savages. Savages means wild people. Savages means primitive people, ancient people who are rather wild in nature and do any harm to any person of their own kind. The next day, Fritz and father met the captain and told him their own history as well as Jenny's. That means Fritz and father spoke to the captain of the ship that had been anchored rather far away from the island, and then father and Fritz told them their whole story of the previous 10 years to the captain, and that the story of Jenny also. To everyone's surprise, obviously surprise means astonishment, something that happens all of a sudden where we are completely confused or in a fixed manner. It means to everyone's surprise, it had been Jenny's father who had inspired. Who had inspired means who had told, who had kept a watch on the ship, had asked the captain to keep a watch on such a type of behavior in people, where his own daughter had been stranded onto the island. That means Jenny's father, Jenny Montrose's father, was the person who had sent the ship to the island to anchor itself and find if any people were stranded out there or left out there on the deserted island out there. The captain searched. He believed his daughter was still alive after 3 years. That means Jenny Montrose was stranded on that island for 3 years, whereas the Robinson family was stranded out there for 10 years and more. So the captain had decided to attempt to find her. That means Mr. Montrose was a person who had told the captain to take a proper search out there, take a rescue team out there to see the island is in a perfect manner, and that people could, if you could find his own daughter, her name is Jenny, and in that case the captain, with a very big smile on his face, showed that his rescue team, his adventure, his search was finally fulfilled, as Jenny Montrose was found in this case. If you have any doubts, you have any queries, you are most welcome. I am available on WhatsApp 24/7. You can give me a call also. Any spelling, any sentence, any word not understood to you, or the paragraph itself, you are most welcome to ask me again and again. I again request you to subscribe, share and like the channel, like the videos, so that, and please see the videos on time, and please show your attendance to your respective class teachers as and when you see the video, and please maintain the ideas, assignments given to you as and when you are told to do so. Thank you. Jazakallah.